Hey guys! Welcome back to a brand new video. Today, I'm gonna be showing you guys how you can make your own searchable objects just like in Save the World, but in Creative. So, let's just jump straight into it. Dun, 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 dun. You know what? Just skip the intro. This is a mini tutorial anyway, and for a lot of people it's gonna be very easy, so let's just get straight into it. So the first thing we'll need is a button. Now this button is going to be our interact. So let's just change to the advanced options. And the first thing we need to set is the interact time. Now this is a new option that relatively new. And it allows us to, instead of having it as an instant click, having it more of, a loading. Before we had to use the timed objective for it, but now with the button, it's a lot cleaner. Now I put this one to 1 second, which seems pretty fast. This one to 5 seconds, which is way too long. So let's just, let's take an intermediate and let's put it to 2 seconds. That feels about right. I could also go time it, but anyway, let's just put it to 2 seconds. Next up, we need to set the timescan trigger to 1. Now what will this do is later when we put the button to invisible, once you've completed this action once, you will not get the option again. Which is perfect because we can only search this once. Then let's disable the sound, add an interaction text saying search. And now let's place our button right on the object we want to search. Now make sure that you place it exactly where you want the interact to be, because although we will have an interact radius on it, if you put it a little bit more to the left or right, you will be able to interact, but the text saying search will be right where the button is. Now set the interaction radius a little bit higher than just button, because that's very small. And then finally set the when interacted with transmit on to channel 1, which is just any free channel really. And now the next thing that we're going to do is either use an item granter or an item spawner. Now I like to use the item granter because it simulates the same behavior as in Save the World, where it just gets directly in your inventory. So grab one of those, place it down, and now we're just going to grab all the items that we can have as a possibility to spawn or get in your inventory when you search this closet. And then just simply drop them in there. A couple of shields, a couple of mats maybe. We're only going to get one of these, by the way. And if you make an adventure map, for example, or you have a crafting system in place, there's actually a trick that you can use devices as a sort of, currency or a sort of material as well. Even galleries work. Now, how do you do that? Very easy. You just go to the devices and let's say I want to add some triggers, maybe to use as a key card or something like that, because you only see the little icon. It kind of looks like a key card, or pretty much anything that you can think of. Just add them, but instead of adding them to your quick bar, you just add them to a chest. Now there's a maximum of 15 items that can fit in a chest, so I'm just gonna fill up my chest and then spawn it right here. Now that I created this chest, I can open it, and as you can see, I can pick up all of these devices, triggers, power-ups, anything. And then I go back to my item granter, and I can just start dropping these. And these will react exactly the same way. If I search my closet right here, or this little whatever it's called, I will get one item, and it might as well just be a trigger that I can then use as a key card, or maybe as, you call it scrap metal and you need 5 scrap metal to make a weapon, anything like that. The possibilities are endless, as always. Once I'm done dropping all of the stuff in here, it's time to actually, set up this item grant. So let's just configure it for our almost last step. First thing that we need, obviously enable at game start, triggering player, which is the player that, searches it. On grant action, keep all. We don't want the inventory to be cleared. We just want it, to come in our inventory. Only the current item. And now, very important, probably the most important one for this mechanic is the grant on cycle to yes. Now, why exactly? We're going to grant a random item. So we're not going to use the grant item when receiving from, because that would just grant the first item in the list. Instead, we're going to use the cycle to random item when receiving from channel 1, which is when we search. Now, how exactly does that work? Very easy. Because we have the grant on cycle set to yes, when we interact with it, it will send a channel which will, cycle to a random item, and since we have grant on cycle set to yes, it will just directly come to our inventory. Okay, now time for a little test. We search, and we get a random item, in this case, a trigger. Well, no surprise, because I added quite a few, so the chances were pretty big. Now, there's one more thing that I do want to add. In Save the World, when you search an item, you can see this little wiggle when the search is complete. And that's exactly what we're going to simulate as well. And to do so, the only thing that we need to do is just do a little bit of damage to the little closet. Just grab an explosive device, set the health to indestructible, the blast radius to 0.25, the smallest it gets, player damage to 0 because we don't want the player to be damaged, structure damage to the lowest you can, and then set the damage indestructible buildings to yes. No knockback because we really don't want the player to know, so no visual effects, no audio, no visibility in game, no collision, nothing like that. The only thing that we want to do is for this barrel to just deal a tiny little bit of damage, not even enough to see, but enough to make the little closet wiggle. Now just place it as close as you can to our object that we want to search. Make sure that it's in range, but that it doesn't touch a lot of other stuff. And then you'll see when we search it. Did you see that little wiggle? Perfect. And that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It was a mini tutorial, but I hope it's something and that you did learn something out of this. I'm sorry that it's been a little bit quiet lately, but I've been so busy. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace!